Good morning. I'm Jesus Garza, your host of 24/7 Laredo. It's a website dedicated to talk about family, health, educational, political issues, even business issues. So please check out the site 247laredo.com. Today we have a very special person, our former Commissioner Judy Gutierrez. But before we talk to her, I just want to let you know to please check out the website 24/7 Laredo Talk Show. Good morning.
Good morning, and
doing,
at first
Judy?
let me just congratulate you on doing this for the community. I think it's such a wonderful thing that our community can tune in and listen to all of the issues if they're interested, and I think this is just another service. And thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you, Judy. Well, Commissioner, she was our former commissioner for more than at least 10 years. 16 years, excuse me. From the late 80s all the way through early 2000s. Commissioner Gutierrez represented the eastern part of Laredo, Webb County, Las Colonias. She did a fantastic job, I can tell you, because I was in office during that period of time. But where have you been? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, as a matter of fact. Thank you. I always tell people that there is life after politics. And it's just wonderful because you take all what you learned during the time that you were in office, and then you work with that, and you refer to it at times, and you help people. I continue to help people, that need the help. They ask for several things, that they are not familiar with, like how you use the tax office or the appraisal district and things like that. And now I'm a realtor, and I work in that field, so it's very, very appropriate.
You've always been serviceable in terms of providing advice to everybody. How have you done your transition from being a commissioner into a successful real estate agent in this community?
Well, it wasn't hard because I work with people, and that's what I used to do when I was on the Commissioner's Court as an elected official. You're always working with people, as you very well know, that people are always approaching you. People are all needing help at some point. Right. So, that's what I do. But it was a good transition. I continued to do the things that I like. I'm a realtor. I'm also an investor, which is another aspect of real estate. So I've been doing well. I mean, and life goes on.
Right.
So
right.
You do make the best of it.
Well, now that you have a fuller picture in terms of our business community, how do you see Laredo as it relates to real estate prices and the real estate market at this time?
At this time, Laredo has been very, very interesting, and as far as the different levels of evaluation within our own community, because you take the northern part of Laredo, and then you take the southern part of Laredo, and they're slightly different, and you use different valuations to be able to get to that.
If you're a buyer right now, is it a good time to buy?
It's always a good time to buy.
It's always a good time.
I always tell people, because is it a good time? Of course it is. It's a wonderful time to buy.
So you are completely in. You really, when it comes to City Laredo and Webb County, you're all in.
I'm all in. I mean, I love this community. I think that we have a wonderful thing going in our community. We're very special here in Laredo, Webb County. We always have been. We have our ups and downs. But all in all, it's a wonderful community to live in.
Wonderful. Well, that I would imagine, since you've sold quite a few homes and commercial property around town, you've had an opportunity to look at your prior public service and your projects in the Colonias and in East Laredo. How do you see those projects? Are they still definitely the right thing to do? When you make those decisions back in Commissioner's Court.
Judge, it was very interesting that you asked that question, and I'm glad that you did, because what we did in the Colonias, when you extend, the services to those areas, the utilities, it improves not only the quality of life for the people that live there, but also it improves the value of the property. Once you have utilities, water, sewer, roads.
I mean, I still remember back in the 1990s when almost nobody was talking about Colonias. And it was you and maybe a few other advocates from South Texas who got together with our beloved Governor Ann Richards.
Exactly. And let me tell you, it is a very interesting thing because Ann Richards was she was a very smart woman. I mean, not only because, she was the governor of Texas, but I had an opportunity to sit next to her in Brownsville at a conference. And I was going through this Colonias, what are we going to do? I mean, extending water and sewer to a place that was already established is like working in reverse. You had to.
It didn't exist.
It
Those
didn't
laws
exist.
were not in place.
All the roads were private roads, first of all, and so we needed to convert those roads to public roads.
That's right.
It was a very, very long and very, very, very tedious work that we had to do. And you know what? It was well worth every single minute that I spent on that project. Because of that, we got water and we got sewer to the people of the
And I've got to remind the public that the laws did not exist back in the 1990s to allow the Commissioner's Court to be able to do this. They literally had to advocate with the Texas legislature, and you needed to have a governor, like Governor Ann Richards, to support those projects.
That's correct.
And then you had to compete with other colonias in the Valley, El Paso, Eagle Pass, Del Rio, as well as other areas. And so
we had a good fight, and let me tell you, I think Webb County did well in getting the $30 million to do water and sewer extensions to these 13 colonias that we have in Webb County at that time. And it was going to the legislature, you're absolutely right, and changing the law to be able to allow us to do those projects. So I think a lot of people don't realize, how difficult it was.
Well, people who live in the outer city of Laredo probably don't appreciate that things were very different just 10 years ago.
And look at the growth that has taken place, especially on 359. You look at that highway, and a lot of businesses have opened theirs, and a lot of homes are now have water and sewer. So they've improved the quality of the homes, and the businesses that now surround all of that area, which is wonderful.
Right. Do you believe that the outer loop that has been discussed in the past will ever become a possibility?
I think if this new bridge, the fifth bridge in South Laredo, becomes a reality, yes, you have to construct a fifth bridge. And then the infrastructure to be able to do the connector roads all the way to 35. Right. Yes, I think it's a possibility.
And I would imagine that you saw this for the last 10, 20 years. I mean, I would imagine when you're sitting as a commissioner, you're looking at the future and trying to figure out where our needs are at. And so I would take it now that you're no longer a commissioner and you've been doing a lot of your work out there, do you, just like everyone else, you're now sitting back and you're watching the Commissioner's Court work, as well as other public officials. I look forward to wanting to hear from you what your thoughts are about the future, about Laredo. And so, what I'm going to do at this time, I'm going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to pick up that line of thought with our Commissioner, Judy Gutierrez.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Commissioner, as we were talking about earlier concerning what you were involved in the last 16 years, you've had an opportunity being a real estate agent and being a public official on how politics of today is, or what the political climate is. How do you compare that, or how do you see it today?
Well, you see the things that are going on, and what's going on in Washington, and I honestly believe that it has contaminated, some of our local politics. It's filtered down, which is unfortunate. I know that when I served in the Commissioner's Court, we did a lot of good projects, and you can appreciate, just like the juvenile detention facility. But even before that, we consolidated all of the buildings, and we constructed the Justice Center, and then the administration building, because we had a vision and a plan to do something. At the same time that we were doing that, I was working in my precinct for the Colonias, for the water sewer project, for the extension of those water services. And working with the city of Laredo, because the county didn't have the services to offer, so we had to rely and contract with the city of Laredo. And that was another thing that, took a lot of the time. At the same time, I represented rural Webb County, which was totally neglected at that time. And we started working with them on infrastructure projects like water, sewer, roads.
I guess now when you go back and think about it, the 90s were, and for those of us who were around in the 1990s who can remember, it was a very active commissioner's court.
We had a very active commissioner's court, and we were able to accomplish a lot of things. And I believe in working with the people that were there at that time. I know that we, when we were doing the Colonias, we had 1 or 2 members of the court that were not fully vested into this project because they felt like, there were a lot of other things that we needed to be concentrating on. And yeah, we needed to, help the jail, and we needed to help all the departments in the county. But at the same time, we needed to be able to get that money, and that was grant money. If we did not get the money, somebody else was going to get it. And I impressed upon the other members of the court. And finally, they came around and they agreed with me. And we were able to get that money to be able to do the project. It took a long time. But you know what? I mean, it was well worth it, like I said before. But we were able to accomplish a lot of things. We looked at the possibility of a 5th bridge. We did, working maybe in tandem with the city of Laredo. It didn't work out because there was a lot of power struggle. The city wanted one thing. We tried to reach a consensus. Unfortunately, it did not work out. But I think now that it seems like the need is there for the 5th bridge and, for the outer loop. And, the thing is that we all have to be not about ourselves. And no one elected official is there or should be there for themselves. They should be there for the people of this community and have a longer vision of what they want to do for this community. Do the 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 50-year plan for water, for development of this community. We're going to grow. One way or another, we're going to grow.
Well, we're expected to be twice as big in about approximately less than 10 years or 10 years from now. So it is going to grow.
And the environment, we have to take care of the environment. Look at those issues that are important to this community. I have grandkids. I want the best for them as I would want for everybody's grandkids, for every child in this community to be able to grow in a safe, in a clean community, in a community that is going to provide them the needs for when they grow and then they go to college and then they can come back or stay here in college. We have a wonderful university, to be able to take advantage of that.
But you're 100% correct. Unfortunately, though, sometimes, the turnout just doesn't reflect those wishes. We have such a low turnout. What is going on here? What do you think?
A lot of this, and and I know that we've all heard, about how they control the, certain elected officials or certain candidates control the vote in certain areas. South Laredo mainly, and maybe West Laredo, and there's pockets of that. Let me put it to you that way, all over. But we can't do that. We need to be able to get the people to the polls, have the right issues, have people explaining the issues to the people, the elderly, the people that don't know what's going on, and because they don't know how to vote, they stay away from voting. And then the young people just seem to think that it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. Of course it matters. It should matter to everybody. We have 7,000 DACA recipients here, and we need to help all of those. We need to help them to be able to stay here, to be able to be legal. I mean, they've been here all their lives. Some of them are doctors, and some of them are teachers. Some of them are, they're all over. They have
But
all jobs.
let me just point out to the public that back in 2002, which was 15, 16 years ago, where our own Laredo and Tony Sanchez ran for governor, we had over 44,000 people who came out and voted from Webb County. In the last election, we must have had maybe 26,000 people who voted total. There's a problem or a disconnect between the actual public official and the voters out there. For whatever reason, there seems to be someone either is not, is it the public officials who are not inspiring, or the voters just not interested in what they're doing, saying.
Well, and I think that it might be a little bit of both, but I think it's our responsibility, all of us, all citizens. I mean, I include myself, to go out and to promote the vote.
Right.
I mean, I've talked to people, I don't know how many I've talked to about getting them out to the polls for this general election in November. It is so important, that we do that and that we
Why do you believe this election is important?
My goodness gracious, after this last presidential election and what's going on in Washington right now really scares me. There is just no rule of law. I mean, everything is okay. I just don't believe in that. I mean, we need to be able to have some order to be able to so that our democracy can survive. If our democracy can survive this onslaught of attacks, we will be okay. And if we don't, then God help us all, because we don't know where in the world we stand as a nation right now. And nobody, and you look at the other countries, they don't respect us. And I believe that we have an absolute responsibility to get involved in this election, in this general election, the midterm elections, and then the presidential election. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, we have to be passionate about those things. If not, I'm afraid that we're not going to survive.
But obviously then we need to go out and vote.
That's it. You don't do it any other way. The way somebody said, how do you stop this administration from doing Congress isn't doing it. I mean, they're not doing it. And you have the executive branch, they're not doing it. And the only way we're going to do it is by going to vote. We, the people, take over, and we go out and we vote and we change things. That's the only way it works, folks. That's the only way it works.
That's true. In fact, I think what we're going to do then, if that's the case, we're going to ask your sister, as her sister, Sylvia Palumbo. She's been an avid voter registration person since the 1980s. She's continuously registering people out to vote. I don't know how many she's registered, but thousands of people.
Thousands.
So I'm going to ask her to come over in late August to set the marker for Webb County again, and tell us how many votes she thinks we can get out, registered new voters, and see how many we can get out to vote. Because like you said, not only the president, but I mean the local races are so important. The mayor's races and all other races, they're all important. And but you're right, everything gets dictated to some degree as to what happens in Washington. It comes down to the local level. So certainly we are going to be having to bring your sister
Medicare and Social Security are under attack. And that's all I'm going to say. If they change the formulas for Social Security and for Medicare,
right,
we're going to have a lot of problems.
Well, you hear it, folks. Obviously that we can make a difference here in Webb County if we do come out and vote. So I'm going to ask Ms. Sylvia Palumbo to come back very soon. She'll set us the new markers, and then we look forward to working with her the next 90 days to get that vote out. Because it didn't matter, so long as you go out and vote. I'm not advocating a particular group of persons, but certainly we need to go out and vote, because if we don't come out and vote, people don't listen to Laredo, and there's a reason why, because we just don't matter. We don't have the votes to make a difference. So hopefully we go out and vote, we do make a difference.
If you consider the fact that we have 150,000 registered voters, and 150,000 more or less. And if 29, 30, let's push it a little bit, 35,000 come out. Who in Washington, how are you going to get those federal dollars here? When you have people in the Valley and you have people in San Antonio, all those areas, they have 40, 50, 35-40% of the people vote, who are they gonna send their money?
I asked this question, and again, it's just, I'm not taking a side, but the point is that if you are a very strong supporter of not having the wall, of making sure our DACA students are taken care of, or even those people who voted for Donald Trump, which is more than 5,000 people in Webb County who voted for Donald Trump the last time around. If you care to have a honest government, city government, a good municipal judge, a good state rep, you know, you need to come out and vote. That's just the
Local
bottom line.
representation is very important, of course it is. And we have to elect those officials that have the best interest of our community at heart. Because if they don't, then nothing changes. I mean, it's always going to be that power struggle, and you can see some of that, you know, going on in the commissioner's court. Not so much a commissioner's court, because it seems everybody's in tandem there, but over here in the city council.
Do you feel, though, that the ones that are in office right now, there seems to be, are they there for the right reasons? Or are they making mistakes?
I think that some of them are there for the right reasons, but others are not. And, you know, and it's are not, you know, should think about, you know, their actions and their votes and what they would like this community to look at. And, you know, what we can bring to our community. It's about leaving our community better off than how they found it when they got elected. And
So
that's the way
the question. So that's your line.
That's my line.
Your
You
line.
you have to be able to say, am I leaving this community better or worse than how I found it? And when you can say, I did, I made a difference. I made a difference. I mean, these were my votes. Then you can say, I did my job, and it's a better community because of the service that I provided.
Would that be the same advice you give a young person or a new person back in political arena?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not easy, but you know, it comes down to, you know, I had a friend of mine that got me into running for political office, Honoré Garza. I know you know him very well, and you knew him very well also. But he used to say, you know, don't worry about your enemies. Because they're never going to ask you for anything, for you to do anything.
They never
worry about your friends.
They're the ones that ask.
That's the one. Those are the. And then if you are not able to help for whatever reason, that's the end of a friendship. You lose a lot of friends in politics.
Yes. Well, you know, at that point, at this point, I'd like to leave it here because I think there's quite a few other questions I want to ask you, but our time has run out. I really want to thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you talking to our audience. It's a brand new audience who's looking forward to hearing to a different type of view, and so I'm grateful for you being here. For those of you who want to continue providing your thoughts, please join us on the chat room of 247laredo.com and go ahead and join in. For those of you who go through a Facebook page, please like us. And for those who want to continue hearing the latest information about Laredo and its happenings, join us and subscribe to 247 Laredo Talk Show. And again, thank you very much. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.